It's midday right here in Brazil. So I'm a little hungry, but instead of eating, I'm gonna be with you for 2 hours. I really love you. So let's go. We have a very exciting class today. Remember, tomorrow we will have an extra class at the same time. Okay, I've already sent the link for you, but anyway, I will do it again tomorrow at our Facebook group, so don't you worry. And I wait for you tomorrow at the same time. Okay, so welcome to our fourth class, right? And welcome to our fourth class. And today we will talk about the end of step number 5, step number 6, and possibly we will start step number 7. Let's see how it will work. If not, tomorrow we will talk about step number 7 and 8, and we will do a review about the most important topics that you have to consider if you want to take the exam. Okay, so let's start. I will share with you my screen right now because I want to finish step number 5. Look, yesterday I showed you. Now I think you are seeing my screen, the PMO value ring software. Okay, and let's go to step number 5. So step number 5, the last thing that I showed you was the allocation, the team allocation. So we talked about the CAI, the competence adherence indicator, the personal competence adherence indicator. Where is it? It's over here at the end of this table, right? And I told you that when we select people, we will have the function adherence indicator. It's over here, CAI, just by side with the function, right? So you can see here 89.0. The CAI for the function will be a combination of the CAIs of the team members that you are assigning to the function. I told you that if they are working together, helping each other, we will take the best competences of each one. If they are just working in the same function, but some of them are working in this, this part of the function, like this projects, and someone is working with this projects, just dividing the work. So in this case, it will not be the maximum. It will be an average. Okay, we talked about that yesterday. So this is the CAI for the function provide project management tools and information systems. If we take an average of all CAI functions, can you see? I clicked here at this plus, gray plus, and you can say the CAI of all functions that I have selected. Okay, you can see it here, or you can just change from function to function, and you will see the specific number here. So if we take an average of all these functions, all CAIs, we will have the PMO CAI. The PMO CAI is this number here, 80.5. So again, PMO competence adherence indicator, we have 3. The competence adherence indicator, personal. This number will show you if that specific person is good or not to provide to work on a specific function. Okay, the higher is the personal CAI, the higher is the chances that that person really fit to the needs considering that function that you want to provide. The CAI, the function CAI, is a combination of the personal CAIs of that members that you decided to assign to the PMO, okay? And the PMO CAI, this number here, is just an average of all functions CAIs, these numbers here, okay? And again, I told you that when we change, oh my God, when we change the function, the competences will be the same. We have 10 competences, but these numbers here, the relevance of each competence will be different from function to function, because there are some competences that are more important, okay, than others, depending on the function that you are analyzing. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me well? Yes, yesterday we had some problems with the sound, but today I don't think it will happen again. Can you hear me? Yes? Good, very good. If you have any problem, tell me. The chat room is open here and I can see that, okay? All right, so the last thing that you have to do is, okay, I assign Maria, for example, and I assign Harold to this function, provide project management tools and information systems. But I haven't said the workload of these people in this function. So the workload is, how much time they will spend providing this function. Why is it important? It's because that's the way that you will try to estimate the number of members, the number of people that you need at your PMO, okay? And how can you do that? Look, I'm gonna show you right now. We have another, let me go back to the map, it's easier. Map, okay, so step number 5. And now you can see define team workload allocation. Define team workload allocation. Let's see what we have. The workload allocation will be like this. Look, at our first column, we have all members of the PMO, okay? So we have Livia, Maria, Carl, Joanna, all of them are members of our PMO. This column here, total, will show you if your member is over-allocated or not. Over-allocated means, too much work and not enough time. So if you have, for example, 200%, it means that your resource has some hours monthly, and we are expecting that he or she can work 2 times more hours than the hours that he or she has available, okay? So this resource is over allocated, right? So what you have to do is, let's suppose that in our previous screen, you decide to assign Livia to many, many different functions. So now you have to come here and you will say, how is the allocation of Livia? Every time you have a gray field, it means that this person was not assigned to the function in the column. Okay, so for example, here is gray. It means that Maria was not assigned to provide advice to upper management. However, Maria was assigned to provide a strategic project scoreboard. And what is this 15%? Have you ever heard about the concept of full time equivalent, full-time equivalent, FTE, okay, full-time equivalent. Let me write it, full-time equivalent, full-time equivalent. This concept comes from, again, from the business process management area. Full-time equivalent means, let's suppose that I have, I work from Monday to Friday, okay, every month. So 8 hours a day. So it means that I have around 160 hours per month, okay, 160 hours per month, hours of work. So when you assign Maria to provide the strategic project scoreboard, you have to think, oh, let me see, Maria will work on this activity, like preparing this scoreboard, every day, you know, during the morning, maybe 2 hours, or maybe in the last 2 days of the month. So if let's suppose that it's in the last 2 days of the month, it means 8 hours one day, 8 hours other day. It means 16 hours. 16 hours is around 10% of the total of hours that she has in a month. So that's the number that I will insert here, 10, okay? Because I believe that she will work around 10 hours a month, providing a strategic project scoreboard, okay? It's an estimate. You have to define it, okay? We can't help you. Why? Because it depends. From company to company, it will be different. So it's just a way to help you to estimate how much time each team member will spend on each function. So at the end, if we have 15% here, 10% in provide project or program performance reports to upper management and so on, you will have a total here. So we can see that Maria Vitorelli, she's fully allocated. So she doesn't have any other spare time to do anything. If you have a number here like 150, it means that you need Maria and also half of Maria. So you have a problem, right? Or she will, possibly you need another person to help Maria because you over allocated Maria to the PMO functions. Okay? What's happening? Some of you are losing my audio. Let me try something different. Just a, I don't know what's happening because it was working well. Let me try again. What about now? Is it okay? Yes. Okay. I'm gonna keep my microphone closer to my mouth. I think it will be better now. Okay. Very good. Very good. So again, what we are trying to do here is to help you when you need to understand how many people you need at your PMO. So the workload allocation means that you will say how many hours in terms of percentile each person will work in each function. Again, what is a FTE, the full-time equivalent? You will take the total of hours that that person has available each month, for example, and you think, okay, how many hours he or she will spend doing some specific function, okay? It's an estimate. So you'll say, I think it's, I don't know, 8 hours a month. And if we have 160 hours per month, it means that 8 hours represent 5%. And that's what you will fill here, 5%. Is it okay? So the objective is when you finish when you finish it and you go back to the assignment screen, look, the assignment screen, let me show you. Again, we are here, provide project management tools and information systems, right? And we have all our resources, and we know that Maria is allocated. If you click here on the green plus, you will see every function that Maria was allocated and the estimate of workload that Maria will have in each function. So it's very useful because you can see that Maria now is totally fully allocated. So if we assign Maria to another function, possibly she will not have enough hours of work to spend with this new function. Okay, that's it. That's it. It's easy. It's not difficult to understand, but it's just one more feature that is available at the methodology and the software, and I would like to show it for you. Okay, but it's not a topic for our exam. It's just more to show you that it exists. Okay. It means that we finished step number 5. And before following to the next step, I would like to review all the steps that we have discussed. No, Asraf, we can't do that. We can't track the actual time. It's just an estimate to help you to define the head count. Okay? So, let me tell you what we already discussed here. Firstly, on step number 1, we collected expectations, right? So we have a list of benefits, 30 benefits, and based on the benefits selected by our stakeholders, we got a list of recommended functions, okay? Step number 2, we decided which functions we will provide at our PMO, the mix of functions of our PMO. And we used 3 indicators. The expectations adherence indicator is a kind of point of view where you are looking to the forest, right? So it's a global indicator, and it shows you if your mix of functions is adequate to, if it fits to the needs of your PMO. Also, we learned about the BAI. BAI, we are not looking to the forest, but we are looking to the trees, each tree. So we are talking about the benefits. So we are trying to know if the mix of functions is addressing the most important benefits, okay? And finally, the third indicator was the balance of the PMO. We talked about painkillers and antibiotics. So the idea is create a mix of functions that can generate perception of value over time, okay? So the chances to be recognized will be higher, right? Step number 3, now I know what to do and I have to define how to do. So we understood that we have functions and each function has a process. So we draw the process with responsibilities, with the flow chart, inputs, outputs, and also performance indicators. And on step number 4, we discussed the performance indicators deeply because we understood that every function will have different performance indicators. And the performance indicators will also have different relevances, right, for each function. So what we are trying to do is to verify if our functions are being provided very well or not. So there are many KPIs that can be used, and they will be different from function to function. Step number 5 is related to the PMO team members. So firstly, we started with 360 feedback evaluation, or any other type of evaluation that you want to do, because we had a competence model with 10 competences, and each competence has 4 levels of proficiency. So based on the evaluation, we understood if which team members are most appropriate for each function. And we have an indicator that help us with that, the competence adherence indicator, okay? So every person has a competence adherence indicator. So we will assign people, and depending on the members that I'm assigning, I will have the competence adherence indicator for the function. And if I want to improve this number, I have to develop people, or I have to bring people more competent to the PMO. But what is really important to understand is different functions will require different competencies, right? So that's the point. And if you don't have the competence needed, it's a problem, it's a risk. You have to manage it. You have to deal with that, okay? So now we are ready to start with step number 6, okay? Mahmoud, the percentage for each function, I think you are talking about workload, right? The workload is here. That's a way, workload allocation. Okay, that's where you do that, right? Okay, so let me stop sharing. Okay, and now let's talk about maturity. Maturity. It's actually, this topic was the source of the PMO value ring. In 2010, when we started with the PMO value ring research, actually we started with step number 6, with the concept of PMO maturity. I don't know if some of you already read something about a model named PMO maturity cube, PMO maturity cube. This model was released in 2010 at the PMI research, a global research conference in Washington DC. It was the first time that I went there and presented the PMO maturity cube, and it was a maturity model designed specifically for PMOs. Today, the PMO maturity cube was improved, and it became the step number 6 of the PMO value ring. It's the same thing. The PMO maturity cube, it doesn't exist anymore, right? But it's the step number 6 of the PMO value ring. So, before starting, let me tell you some important concepts related to maturity. When we talk about maturity, first of all, maturity, what is maturity? Maturity is the result of your knowledge and your experience, right? Knowledge without experience, you don't have maturity. Experience, just practical experience without some knowledge base, don't give you maturity too. Maturity depends on the time. It's impossible to mature from the night to the day, right? So you also need some time, but it's something that you can measure, and considering what you have today in terms of maturity and what you would like to have in terms of maturity, okay, you can plan this evolution. That's it. That's the whole idea, right? So maturity is something that you just can let it go, you know, and you will mature, but maybe not in the speed that you need. But also you can manage it. Okay, you can understand how mature you are, and you can do something to, you know, make your evolution faster, right? And again, I'm talking about maturity in general, right? I'm not talking now about maturity in project management or for PMOs. Maturity, the idea of maturity is like this. So now let's bring this concept to our project management area. There are many models to access project management maturity, project, program, and portfolio management maturity. There are many of them. For example, Fuad gave us a very good example at our chat room. P3M3, the bridge model, it's really good. OPM3 from PMI, okay? We have some, let me see, some universities. For example, Berkeley in California, US, they also have one model. CMMI is a kind of model of maturity, okay? So there, exactly, Sari. There are many models. Each one has strengths, you know, and also has some weaknesses. But all of them are really valuable, really interesting, but all of them should be used to measure and to evolve the maturity of your organization. That's why the name is organizational maturity model, okay? Like OPM3, organizational project project management maturity model. So organizational is the word, right? All these models have in common the fact that they usually have a kind of questionnaire, right? You have to answer the question, and depending on your answers, you will be one specific level of maturity. Normally between 1 to 5 or to 4, okay? So you see, okay, I'm number 4, I'm number 3, and people try to compare with other companies or maybe with other industries. Okay, very good. The point is, all these models, they have in common the fact that inside this questionnaire, there is a question like, do you have a PMO? And if you say, yes, I have a PMO, so the model will tell you, okay, so it means that you are a little more mature, okay? That's what we found when we started the research in 2010 around maturity models. And what we realized was that the organizational project management models, they consider PMOs as just one unique thing, you know, one unique phenomenon. Let me give you an example. Let's suppose that someone asks to you if we have PMOs, and I will say, okay, I have a PMO, okay, and you say, yes, I also have a PMO, okay. Just a second, I'm stopping a video. Okay, so both have a PMO, but let's understand a little more what my PMO is. Well, my PMO just, you know, just provide a methodology, but nobody used the methodology. Sometimes people that use the methodology, they don't use it correctly. Everybody hates the methodology. Yes, I have a PMO, but it's a PMO like this. And when I ask you about the PMO, you tell me, yes, Marco, we have a PMO, we provide methodology. The methodology covers all aspects that we need. People really use it, so the adoption rate is really high. And also, they use the methodology correctly, and they like it. They feel that it really works. Okay, so considering the questionnaire, both of us will answer, yes, we have PMOs. But in fact, we have very different PMOs. The level of maturity of our PMOs are not exactly the same. You know, we have PMOs, but we know that there are PMOs and PMOs, right? So we need something different. We need something deeper, right, to understand the evolution of our PMOs. And that's why we decided to create a model, a maturity model. Just it was the first one in the world at that time. Actually, I can say that it's not the only one, but I can tell you that it's used in the world today. I have no doubt about that. And it's quite interesting. I will show you now how it works. You'll see that it's very simple, but it makes a lot of sense. Okay. God, today we have problems with the sound, right? I know that our recordings. Oh my God, I don't know what's happening. I'm using the same microphone, the same computer. I'm at the same place. Hello, hello. Maybe if I speak louder, can you hear me? Let me see. No, everybody is on mute. Yeah, I don't know. But don't worry, because the recordings are okay. Okay, maybe it's a problem with internet connection. Maybe. Okay, yes. I'm sorry for that, but you know, internet connection is a problem everywhere in the world. Yes, it's true. It's true, Tahir. So again, let's talk about maturity. Okay. First of all, let me ask you a question. Let's suppose that we have a very strategic PMO. Okay, we have a very strategic PMO. Do you believe that a strategic PMO is a mature PMO? What do you think about that? So the question is a strategic PMO a mature PMO? That's the question. Yes or not? No, it depends. Maybe yes. What do you think? Yes? No connection between them? It depends on the organization. Oh my God, many options, right? Yeah, it depends on the influence of the PMO. Okay, let me try to make it easier. Okay. One of the findings of our research at that time was based on our how can I say, actually we decided to visit many PMOs, okay, at that time. So we visited more than 300 PMOs in 2 years. Not only me, but I had some people working with me on that. And it was very interesting because when we were with these PMO leaders, we work with them and we try to understand if they were a little more strategic or a little more operational. And sometimes we found people doing functions very strategic, but in a very low level of maturity, in a very low level of sophistication, you know? So I'm saying that you are, for example, providing portfolio management, but you are not doing it really well, right? So is there any question about the fact that you are doing something strategic? No, you are doing something strategic, but it doesn't mean that you are doing it well, okay? On the other hand, we visited many PMOs that were very operational. And when we talked to them and asked them, wow, you are doing a good operational job, right? And are you planning to become strategic? And many of them said, no. Actually, we are doing operational things because that's what people expect, right? So look, if I consider that a strategic PMO is a mature PMO, I'm saying that Even a PMO that is providing strategic functions in a very low level of sophistication, they are mature by definition because they are strategic. And if you have a PMO, an operational PMO, you are doing a great job in a very high level of sophistication, I have to tell you that you are not mature because you are not delivering strategic functions. Does it make sense? So what we realized was being strategic or being operational or even tactical is not a sign of maturity. It's a sign of alignment. So you have different benefits that people expect. Some of these benefits will be delivered by strategic functions. Some of them will be delivered by tactical functions. And some of them will be delivered by operational functions. So if you will provide operational, tactical, or strategic functions, it's not a matter of maturity. It's a matter of alignment with the expectations. That's the first point. And after that, if you are delivering the functions, strategic, tactical, or operational, in a very sophisticated way, so in a very high level of maturity, so you can say that you are mature. So let's suppose that in your mix, you have strategic functions, tactical functions, and operational functions. So you may be mature in the operational approach, right? And maybe you are not very mature in the strategic approach, but they are independent. You know, it's not a transition. You will not have to know, oh, I'm not operational anymore. Now I'm strategic. So now I'm mature. No. Actually, you can be mature being operational. You can be mature being tactical. You can be mature being strategic. And also, you can be immature being strategic. It means that you are delivering strategic functions, but you know, shame on you. You are providing portfolio management, but in a very, very bad way. Are you strategic? Yes, of course, because provide portfolio management, provide benefit management is something strategic. But I'm sorry, you can be proud of that because the way that you are doing is really poor. Does it make sense for you? Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, okay, being strategic, being tactical, or being operational depends on the expectations. That's it. You don't need to be only strategic. You don't need to be only tactical. You don't need to be only operational. You can be all of them at the same time. And by the way, most of the PMOs, they are like this. They are a little, you know, a little strategic, a little tactical, a little operational. Sometimes they can focus a little more in one of these possibilities, but they are all of them. And you have to evolve your maturity in each approach, okay? So if you are strategic, it's because your stakeholders need strategic benefits. So that's why you are strategic. But you can do it very well, or you can do it in a very bad way. So, of course, if you are more mature, it means that the chances to generate perception of value will be higher. That's it. That's the idea. Exactly, Mahamud. That's our approach. We understand that maturity is not about what you do. Maturity is related to how you do. And it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Because you can do a lot of things, but you know, in a very, very poor way. Does it mean maturity? I don't think so. I don't think so. But if you consider that maturity is how you do something, and for example, CMMI follow this approach too, it makes much more sense because, you know, if you are doing something in a very good way, the chances of getting results, of getting perception of value will be higher. It makes much more sense. Okay, so that's our approach. Understand that you don't need to evolve from the operational level to the strategic level. If you do it, it's not because you are looking for maturity, it's because you are looking for alignment with your corporate expectations. Okay? Simple, very simple. Right? So, Nadir asked how to do the way we do things to determine maturity. That's what I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to show you step 6, our maturity model. What we did was for each function, first we categorize each function as a strategic function, a tactical function, or operational function. Okay? So remember, 26 functions. Some of them will be strategic, some of them will be tactical, and some of them will be operational. Right? The functions that you are including in your mix of functions depend not because you not include a function in your mix because of the maturity. You include a function in your mix because of the needs of your stakeholders. Right? That's it. But there are many different ways in terms of maturity, in terms of sophistication, to deliver each function. So what we did was we created for each function 4 levels of maturity. These levels of maturity are based on what we named maturity drivers. For example, frequency of use may be a maturity driver. The level of resistance can be a maturity driver. Let me see if you have sponsorship, it may be a maturity driver. So each function will be different maturity drivers, and these maturity drivers drove us to describe the levels of maturity. So I'm going to show you now. We have 4 levels of maturity and a description of each one. So what you will do is, okay, am I providing this function? Yes. So my level of maturity is 1, 2, 3, or 4. That's it. And also, you will say, what is your current level of maturity and what will be your level of maturity at the end of the cycle? Because between today and the end of the cycle, in 12 months, you have to establish action plans to evolve your function, to evolve the maturity of that function that you are providing. Okay? Let me show you that at the website. Just a second. Okay. In 15 minutes, we will stop for our break. Okay, so now you can see, let me see, maturity. Okay, so maturity, we have two tasks: set maturity level and establish action plans. So let's start. Maturity assessment, you can create a new one here, right? And you can see that we have 3 tabs: assessment, results, and history. Okay, so what you can do is you create a new assessment here. Okay, now we are seeing a demo assessment here, right? But we could create a new one if you want, right? At your free account. And you can see here all the functions that we have selected, okay? But only the functions that we have selected on step number 2. Oh, Americo, I want to see all of them. Okay, so go to step number 2 and select all of them, right? So if you click, for example, provide, let me take one here. Oh, this one, provide project management methodology, okay? If you click here on the green plus, you will see the 4 maturity levels. So what you have to do is you have to read these descriptions, okay? The maturity drivers, they are included in these descriptions. So you will see which description fits to your PMO. So you will say, okay, my PMO today, I believe that it's level 2, okay? We provide project management methodology as the level 2 describes. So what you will do is you will say that your actual level is level 2, okay? For example, current level, okay? Your current level is level 2. I said actual level, I'm sorry, it's current level, level 2. And also, you have to say which will be your target level at the end of the cycle in 12 months, right? So, for example, in terms of methodology, I'm level 4 and I want to keep level 4. But in provide, let me see, lessons learned database, today I'm level 3, and at the end of the cycle, I want to be level 4. Is it okay? That's how it works, okay? And let me see if we have a question. How many levels of 4? For each function, we have 4 levels. Look, 4 levels, 4 levels, 4 levels, and so on, okay? So you have to tell what is your current level and was your target level, all right? The maturity indicator, the levels of maturity, they are defined, Ahmed. They are defined. They come, the level of maturity come from the database, from our collective intelligence, okay? You will define if you are level 3, 2, or 1, because you will read this description, okay? Exactly like in organizational models. You will read this description and you say, yes, I think I'm much more like level 1 than level 2. So my level today is level 1. So that's my current level, okay? But the reference is here. That's what you have to know to define your maturity for each function, all right? And again, remember that we have some strategic functions, we have some tactical functions, and we have some operational functions. So you can see here a column where we have the function maturity indicator. We calculate it comparing, look, that's important. We calculate this number comparing our current level with the top level. The top level is always 4, all right? So my current level is 3, and the top level is always 4. So 3 divided by 4, 75. Again, here, 3 divided by 4, 75. This one, promote project management within the organization, 2. 2 divided by 4, 50. So your maturity will be compared with the top maturity, all right? That's the idea. Okay, Americo, but for example, here in the first one, I'm level 3, and I want to be level 3. So should I say that I'm 100% of maturity? No, no. 100% maturity is level 4, okay? Level 3, even if you want to be level 3 at the end of 12 months, you will still have only 75%. The only difference is because you are 3 and you want to keep level 3, you don't want to evolve, you can see that there is a green sign here and you can't click on this blue button where you will create your action plan for evolution. In the second one, for example, 3, and you want to be 4. So it's red, there is a gap. So if you click here, you can create your action plan, okay? So again, this column, functional maturity indicator, will take the current level and divide it by 4, because 4 is the top maturity. The blue button and the green button, the green sign, will change when you want to improve your maturity. If you are level 1 and want to be level 3, oops, there is a gap. So you will see a red sign and the blue button will be available, okay? Oh, America, okay, but I'm level 3 and I want to be level 3. Does it make sense? Why I don't want to be level 4? There are many, many reasons for that. For example, maybe you feel that level 3 is enough for your organization. Level 4 will be great, but level 4 is too much, you know? We don't need a Ferrari, you know? A small car is enough, right? A Ferrari maybe is too expensive considering our needs. So I'm level 3, and level 3, it's enough for me. I don't want to evolve, right? Or maybe, let's suppose that you are level 1 and you want to be level 2. Well, America, why not level 3 or level 4? Because you realize that in 1 year, you can jump from level 1 to level 3 or from level 1 to level 4. So you will say that, okay, after 12 months, I will jump from level 1 to level 2. And next year, when I start this evaluation again, my current level will be level 2. And my target level maybe will be level 3 or level 4, okay? That's how it works. Let me see if we have questions. Just a second. Questions. Okay, what's the difference between tactical and operation? Good, in your methodology. Very good question, Ridwan. Let me tell you what we consider, because there are many, many approaches, okay? We found many, many authors proposing different things. And what we tried to do was something a little different. Every function, first let's talk about strategic functions, okay? Strategic, just a second, I think there are someone with, no, okay, all cameras are turned off. Again, when we talk about strategic functions, every time you have a function that is related with strategy or with the upper level management, we considered as a strategic function. For example, provide a strategic project scoreboard. So, by definition, is a strategic function. Provide project or program performance report to upper management. Oops, upper management is the key word, so it's strategic. Monitor portfolio performance. Portfolio, it's strategic, okay? Promote project management within the organization. It's something strategic by definition because, you know, you are dealing with all levels of the organization. Benchmarking, it's also strategic because you are trying to evolve your organization as a whole. So that was the idea. We classified functions considering this approach, okay? It was our decision. The second possibility is a tactical function. And the difference from tactical to operational is tactical functions, they provide something to a group of projects or to a group of people. For example, when I say that I'm providing project management tools, it's not for one project, it's for a group of projects. So it's tactical. I'm providing project management methodology for our projects. So it's for a group of projects. I'm providing training. Training is for a group of people, okay? So it's also tactical. And operational means that we are providing something for a specific project or a specific person each time. For example, when I monitor and control project performance, I don't do it, with all the projects at the same time. I have to analyze project by project. So it's operational. When I manage stakeholders in projects, I'm managing stakeholders in projects, I have to do it project by project. So it's operational. Mentoring, I have to do it person by person. So it's operational. Okay, support project planning. I have to sit down with the project manager and help him or her on project planning. I do it project by project. Okay, auditing, for example, Mahid asked about that. There is a function that is project management auditing. It's operational. Why? Because I have to analyze project by project. Okay, so it's operational function, right? So that's the idea. Operational will focus on one project. Tactical will focus on our set of projects. And strategic focus on the upper level management or on strategic aspects, strategic issues. Okay, that's it. So now let's see the results. Okay, the results, we can change the tab here. Let's see the results. And we see the results in some different ways. Look, the first one will give you your strategic maturity, your tactical maturity, and your operational maturity. So look, we have a high maturity in the strategic point of view. It means that we are providing strategic functions in a very high level of maturity, in a very high level of sophistication. But we are delivering some operational functions not in a very high level of sophistication. Is it clear, the idea? Again, I don't need to leave operational functions to start strategic functions. I can provide both, no problem, okay? The PMO maturity is an average of strategic, tactical, and operational maturity, right? So that's why we have 61.1. And this graph at our right is very interesting because the black line here, the black line is the top maturity. So if you are level 4 in all functions, this is the top maturity. The green line is your goal. Your goal is the maturity that you want to have at the end of the cycle in 12 months. And the blue line is your current maturity, is the maturity that you have now. Okay? That's how it works. Okay? So, for example, you can see that in the operational level, we have a gap between the blue line and the green line. This gap is what you have to evolve during the next 12 months. The gap between the green line and the black line is the distance that you have to, to run to reach the top maturity in the operational level. But again, strategic, tactical, and operational, you don't need to mix them. They are different approaches, and all of them may be useful for your organization if your stakeholders expect benefits that may be strategic, operational, or tactical. Can't you see the graph? No? Let me see. Look if you can see it now. Can you see it now? Yes. Can you see the graph now? the black line is the maturity, the stop maturity. Green line is goal maturity, is the goal, the target maturity, and blue line is the current maturity. I think now you can see that. Okay, that's it. That's step number 6. Maximum level is 4 for all functions. Okay, and if you want to know what 4 means, you just have to go at the previous screen and click on the green plus, and you'll see all 4 levels. Okay, so let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, and we will stop for our break. Okay, but before that, I have a question for you. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Let's see if you are good on challenges. Let's see. I'm gonna share my iPad. Just a second. Okay, you can see it now. Look, my challenge is the following. Actually, it's a real case. Okay, it's a real case. In our community, we have a PMO that three or 4 years ago, it was one of the 5 finalists of a PMO of the Year award. Okay, that PMO was one of the finalists of the PMO of the Year award. It was 3 or 4 years ago. It was November, right? November of that year. 4 months later, that PMO, that was one of the 5 best PMOs in the world, in theory, 4 months later, that PMO was shut down. Okay? That PMO was shut down. So, let me show you now our challenge. Let me show you our challenge. We have 2 PMOs, PMO A and PMO B. PMO A and PMO B. Do you remember that indicators, EAI and BAI? Okay. The EAI for PMO A was 45. The EAI for PMO B was 61. Okay? The BAI, the average BAI for the 5 most important benefits for PMOA was 70. And the BAI for the 5 most important, the average for the 5 most important benefits for PMOB, okay, the average 5 top benefits was 72. And finally, the maturity indicator, the overall maturity indicator of PMOA, let me make a change, just a second. Instead of 70, 40, okay? And finally, the maturity indicator for PMOA was 95, okay? And the overall maturity indicator for PMOB was 51, okay? My question is, which PMO will be one of the PMO of the Year finalists and in 4 months will be shut down? Which PMO has the higher chances to be one of the finalists of the PMO of the Year awards and in 3, 4, or 5 months be shut down? PMO A or PMO B? What you tell me? A? All of you agree? PMO A can be one of the finalists of the PMO of the Year awards. However, in 3 or 4 months, they will be shut down. Look what I'm saying here. PMOA is really mature, right? 95%. So I'm saying that PMOA is doing a great job, a great job. They are doing what they are doing in a very high level of sophistication, right? PMOA, look the maturity, 95%, right? All right. The problem is Peter Drucker, possibly you know Peter Drucker, I believe you know him. Peter Drucker said that nothing is more useless than doing something in a very good way, doing that thing that you should never, you are doing in a very good way, something that should never be done, right? So I'm really good, but I'm good in the wrong thing. And that's what is happening here. That's what's happening here. PMOA is doing something really good, 95%. But when we look these numbers, we understand that what you are doing as a PMO is not addressing the benefits and the expectations of your stakeholders. It means that it's really good to present in a conference, you know, to get a lot of applause, maybe to get some kind of award, but your people, your stakeholders, people that will pay your wage, you know, they can't see the value. Technically, you are doing a great work. You are providing, I don't know, you are providing methodology, you are providing portfolio in a very high level of sophistication, but it's useless because you are doing what you were not supposed to do. You are delivering benefits that people don't expect, right? When you go to PMOB, look, the maturity is not very high. So there is, you know, there is a way here that should be performed to improve the maturity. So we can improve what we are doing. But it looks like we are doing what we have to do, you know? So show value is just a question of time. When you mature with what we are doing, possibly we will start to show more value, okay? But if you mature what will not generate the benefits that are expected, you are just wasting money and wasting time and wasting resources because you are doing what you are not supposed to do. And why? I don't know, because you like it, because you read in a book that you should do that. That's exactly what we discussed in our first class. You don't have to do what you want to do. You don't have to do what someone told you that you have to do in a book or in a conference. You don't have to copy what someone was doing. You have to do what you need to do. And what you need to do is what will deliver expectations. Because maybe people will think, wow, you are really great because you are doing something in a very high level of sophistication, but it's not enough to survive. Because maybe you are doing very well something that you should not be doing, right? That's the idea. Is it okay? Did you understand what I said? So the answer is PMO A will get the PMO of the Year award, right? But I don't know if it will survive a lot of time because we are spending money, people, you know, just to get awards and to get some applause in conferences. But our directors here, for example, they can't see, you know, the results. They can't see the benefits. However, PMOB, we still have to evolve, but it looks like we are in the right direction. Okay, yes, Ridwan. Yes, PMO means only one thing, that is value, which comes from benefits. You are totally correct. Javier asked, why PMO A was considered a candidate for annual PMO award that time? Because of this 90% of maturity, Javier. It means that the functions that this PMO is providing, they are providing in a very high level of maturity. It's the Ferrari of functions, you know? All the functions are being provided very well with a high level of maturity. However, they are not providing the right functions, because the functions that they are providing, they are delivering benefits that are not the benefits expected by the stakeholders. And we can know that because of the low EAI and the low BAI average, right? That's the answer. And Yasser asked to repeat this example. Again, what you have to understand is EAI and BAI will tell you if you are in the correct path, if you are aligned with expectations. Maturity level will tell you if you are doing very well what you are doing. What I'm saying is, before doing something very well, you have to be concerned if you are in the correct path. Because doing very well something that you are not supposed to do is a waste of time, resources, and money. Even if people, when you talk about what you do, people will say, wow, yes. People, I'm saying people outside your company, you know, people will say, wow, you are doing something great, you know, it's really good. But at your company, nobody feel that. Nobody can see the value. Why? Because what you are doing is really good, but it's not what they need. That's what I'm saying. You know, every time, that's why many PMOs complain that people in their companies, they can't see the beauty of what they are doing. You know, no, that's not the problem of your stakeholders. It's your problem. They can't see the beauty because it's not beautiful for them. Because what you are doing may be beautiful, technically speaking, but it's not beautiful because it's for them, because it's not delivering benefits that they need. You know, so you are doing what you want to do, not what they need. All right? That's it. That's it. Okay? So now we have to have a break. Okay, so again, 5 minutes, and I will be here so I can still answer your questions about that. But after the break, we will resume this subject. Okay, so 5 minutes. Let me see what we have here. Yes, Javier, the award does not consider other KPI than the maturity level, you know, and what I'm saying is, if you are doing something well, yes, you are doing a very high level of sophistication, but you have to do the right thing too, not only doing well, the wrong thing, right? That's it. Nagi asked if maturity, same percent, which will take. I couldn't get your point, Nagi. Could you clarify for me? Mohammed, our break, yes, we are in our break. Is it possible to have good maturity with low perception value? Of course, Ahmed. It's very common. It's very common, really common, right? Because sometimes PMOs, they are much more committed to do what the models say that a PMO should do than what their stakeholders really expect. You know, it's something very common. For example, you are spending a lot of resources now with, I don't know, benefit management, but when you talk with the stakeholders, you feel that they need something very operational. That's what they need now. You know, I'm not saying that benefit management is not important. I'm saying that now at your company, your stakeholders will see much more value in other functions, because these other functions will deliver what they expect in terms of benefits. Okay, we are in our break. Nagi, if maturity 95, be 95, which we will take? Yes, Nagi, if it happens, so high maturity for both in my example, right? Let's suppose that we have maturity indicator 95 and the PMOB 95. PMOB looks much better because it has a higher maturity and it has a better alignment. So I will bet on the PMOB, you know, because maturity without alignment is nothing, right? Let me see, read one. No one reason of pro PMO shutdown. You just explained it now. I didn't get you, read one. You said that no one reason of PMO shutdown should be that. You just explained it now in Word. I don't know. Could you clarify your question, Ridwan, please? It's not clear for me. I didn't get it. Sorry. Ahmed, which represent the perception, value, EAI or BAI? The combination of them, Ahmed. Remember, we talked about that yesterday. The combination of them. You have to use both indicators together, the EAI and BAI. So when you look only for one of them, it's not enough to make a decision. But both will give you this answer. Both will give you the perception. Not the perception, but the alignment with the expectations. Oh, okay, Ridwan, let me see. Number one reason, PMO shutdown in words today, you explain it now. Yes, Ridwan. Yes, it's very common. It's very common. We really identified that in our research. We have many PMOs that they feel that they are doing a very good work, and sometimes it's true. So I'm saying that they have a very high level of maturity, but it's not a guarantee that they will survive, because they can't realize that doing very well is not enough. You have to do the right thing, you know? So the answer is right thing and right way, right? But only the right way is not enough, right? Sophistication is not a guarantee that your PMO will survive. Sometimes you can have a lower sophistication in everything that you are doing, but you are doing what is generating the correct perception of value. No, that's it. Oh my God, I talk too much. I know. I'm sorry for that. Sometimes I'm tired of me, you know, speaking so much. Ridwan, really? I don't know. I believe that it's very valuable. Very valuable. There are many other certifications in the market around the world that cost much more, and you know, the value, I don't feel that it's so high. But of course, it's my opinion. Tá, ok. 9 da manhã, Dubai Time Zone. Pode ser? Tá bom, então. Okay, I have an answer for you, Ferris. Can we schedule the exam now? Not now. Actually, tomorrow, 9 a.m. Dubai time. Okay? 9 a.m. to Dubai time. all of you can start to schedule your exam. Okay, 9 a.m. Dubai time, right? Do you see the translation file to Arabic? Yes, Ehab, I saw that. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I can't tell you anything about that because I can't understand, but I really like it. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry I can't help you. You know, I would like to support you a little more with that, but very good initiative. Thank you for your contribution. I downloaded it. Okay. Yes, Nadir, we will have an extra class tomorrow at the same time, okay? Ridwan, is there any other PMO certification in Word? Yes, there is, there are. For example, P3O in United Kingdom, P3O is a very good certification. P3O, P3O. I really recommend this certification. It's really good, okay? Okay, let's restart. Okay. Just a second. Yes, it is P3O. It's portfolio, program, and project office. That's the name of the certification, right? P3O. I can show you. I have the standard here. I can show it for you later. Okay. Well, let's restart. Let's restart. I'm gonna open a new, okay, a new screen for us. Good, Mahmoud. If you can exchange some information with Ridwan, I think it could be useful. So let's start now with step number 7. Step number 7. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Step number 7. Now we are ready to go. So step number 1, step number 1, we collect expectations. Step number 2, we define functions. Step number 3, we define process. Step number 4, we establish it. KPIs. Step number 5, we define and assign, let me say we assign resources. Step number 6, we let me see, we plan maturity. We access and plan the evolution of the PMO. Step number 7, we calculate PMO ROI, return on investment. Okay, so let me show you how we will do that. Okay. When we talk about ROI, we have to understand some important points, okay? Some important constraints and assumptions. ROI means return on investment, okay? It's not easy to calculate the ROI of project management. I told you that, remember in our first class, I showed you a book, Researching the Value of Project Management, and I told you that it was inconclusive, right? And why? Because it's not really easy, since the distance between what you are doing in terms of project management and the results in terms of business, the distance between these two things are really, are really big, right? So it's not easy to create a direct relationship between what you are doing in project management and the business results that you are getting, okay? When we talk about PMOs, the difficulty is similar. It's not something really easy to do, and there is another factor that make it much more complicated, is the fact that we have many different PMOs, right? So my PMO is different from your PMO. So how can we find a way to calculate the return of two different things, but only with just a unique method or a unique way of calculation? That is the difficult. So the ROI model was the last one to be created in our methodology. It was created in 2015. Yes, 2015 to 2016. It was the last step that we have created. We still have step number 8, but the last one that we have created was number 7. And what I'm going to show you is a way to have some kind of, how can I say, some kind of idea about if our PMO is in the right way or not. The results that we will see now that should not be considered like, I have $1 more or $1 less in terms of return. We don't have this kind of how can I say, we are not sure like that, about the results. It's just a way to give us some direction, right? It's not a mathematical thing, where you will see some cents at the end and you say, oh, okay, we will get 100,000 euros as a result. Because if you do that, probably your executive will ask you, okay, so where is the money? Where is the money? Right? And you can't give him the money, right? So we have to be very cautious about this step. This step is not to get the result and show to everybody, oh, that's the return, the financial return of our PMO. It's not like this. But you will see that the results will be very useful to show if the PMO is something that makes sense for our organization. Because a PMO is not a solution for every organization. No. PMOs make sense for some organizations, but not for all of them. And this model maybe will give you, some ideas to think about if the PMO is really the solution that your organization needs, right? So I'm going to show you now how it works. Look, after that, I'm going to open for questions again. Okay, so let's go. Look, if you want to calculate the ROI of any project, of anything, you have a formula, okay? ROI is calculated like this. You will take how much money you will make, right? You will diminish how many investment, right, you have to do. So your cost investment, and you will divide it by the same investment. Okay, for example, let's suppose that we are launching a new website. Okay, of course, I'm giving you a very simple example. Okay, but let's suppose we will launch a new website and we will spend 100,000 euros, for example. So this is the investment, okay? And again, 100. And our expectation is that we'll make 200,000 euros with this website. So it will be 100 divided by 100. The result is 1. 1 means 100%, right? 1 is 100%, okay? So it means that I'm investing 100 and I'm making 200. So it will be the double, right? That's why it's 100%. For each euro that I'm investing, I'm gonna get 2, right? 100% of return. So it's easy, no questions about that, I believe. So when we talk about a PMO, it will be like this. We have the annual cost of the PMO annual cost. What is the PMO annual cost? It includes people, it includes any other investment that will exist only because of the PMO. So if the PMO doesn't exist, I will not spend that money. Okay, so let's suppose that I will have to buy some kind of tool, I will have to train people, so everything can be included in this annual cost of the PMO. So let's suppose that this number is 100,000 again, right? So it means that these numbers will be here, right? And the question is, what will be this number? Right? How much money we will make with the PMO? Okay. Said asked if this model can be applied in a non-profit organization. Yes. Okay. So we have to understand how much money we can make with our PMO. So we had two options, okay, in the beginning of our research. We could say, okay, we're gonna try to create a PMO to make more money, to increase our income, for example, or our PMO can be created to reduce our costs, right? To reduce our losses, okay? For example, cost overruns, and some kind of loss because of a lack of productivity and so on. Okay, we will try to save money, right? So make money and save money, right? So as I told you, it's really difficult to explain how a PMO is making money. It's not something easy to show. So we decided to quit this approach, okay? I'm not saying that a PMO can't make money. I'm saying that our model doesn't consider this kind of return, okay? It's a decision. Save money. Well, what I'm saying is a lot of PMOs, actually most of them, when people create PMOs, they are looking for saving money. So they are looking to centralize functions because they believe that the productivity will be higher, because the results of the projects will be better. So we will do more spending less money, right? So cost overruns, for example, they will diminish and so on. So our focus will be saving money. So the question is, how much money we will be able to save, right? This number, every year, this number is the number that we will use here, okay? And now I'm gonna show you how we will calculate this number. Look. So, let's suppose the first number that you have to find in your organization when you are using this model is the portfolio. Portfolio means the budget, okay? The portfolio under the mandate of the PMO. So let's suppose we are an enterprise PMO and we are looking to all projects of the organization, and we understand that our budget, our portfolio is 1,000. Okay, 1,000. It doesn't matter which currency. It's 1,000. The second number that you need is the annual cost. Oops. The annual cost of the PMO. Okay, let's suppose that is let me use 1 million here, and I'm gonna use 1,000 here. Okay, so the portfolio for the next cycle is 1 million, and the annual cost of our PMO is around 1,000. Okay, that's our yes, 1,000. It's okay. So now you need to tell me, yes, Paulo, yes. Now you need to find, you need to estimate, okay, the loss. How can you do that? The easiest way is to see some historic data, and you will see that, for example, in the last year, our portfolio was, for example, 10 million, okay? 10 million, I'm gonna put it a little higher like this, 10 million, it was our portfolio. And I know that we had, in terms of cost overrun, 2 million. So it means that in the beginning, we started with 10 million, and at the end of the year, we spent 2 million. And this 2 million couldn't be explained. You know, it's only because we had some project management problems, right? So we can't explain it, we can justify it. Actually, it was a cost overrun, okay? So let's suppose that our historical data show us that we have usually about 20% of cost overruns. Americo, could I include in this number other types of losses, for example, opportunity costs? Yes, you can. The only point is just include numbers that you believe that you can explain if someone asked you about it, okay? So now we will work only with this idea of the cost overrun, because this is the easiest way to do that, okay? Cost overrun, it's much more easier to justify. So if we are supposing that the loss that we had last year, in percentual numbers, the loss that we had last year, if we don't do anything, this loss will happen again in the next cycle, okay? So it means that if we don't do anything, we will have around, oops, just a second, we will have around 4 million euros, for example. It will be my loss, okay? So look, If my PMO costs 100,000 per year, okay, this loss is the number that I will compare with the cost of my PMO. Okay, I'm gonna show you how you can do that. Look, this loss, 4 million, okay, will be caused by different problems from company to company. Okay, yes, I'm sorry, it was just an error. 2 million. Okay, now it's okay. Thank you, Ahmed, because I was thinking about another number. So I was saying that this 2 million will be caused by many different problems depending on the company. So what we have in our database is a list of the most common problems that that make companies lose money with projects. Actually, we have a list of 14 problems. Okay, so these numbers came from our database. Okay, I'm gonna work here only with five problems. But as I told you, we have 14 problems. For example, bad estimates, a lack of risk management, a lack of sponsorship, bad supplier management, and so on. Okay, we have many possibilities of problems. So, if you want to use our model, the first thing that you have to say is which problems are your problems. Okay, which problems of our list are your problems. So let's suppose that you say that, oh, Americo, P1 is one of my problems. For example, bad estimates. And P2, no, P2 is not one of my problems. And P3, yes, P3 is one of my problems too. P4, too, but P5, P6, P7, to P14, they are not my problems, okay? So I'm saying that my problems are only P1, P3, and P4, okay? That's it. So now you have to tell me, it's an estimate, okay? You have to tell me the relevance of each problem, the relevance of each problem. So you tell me, for example, that problem 1, bad estimates, you think that it represents 50% of my loss. P3, 30% of my loss. And P4, 20% of my loss. Americo, but what these numbers, where these numbers come from? From your mind, okay? So you are estimating, okay? It's just an estimate. Again, it's better than nothing, right? It's better than nothing. It's an estimate. So you will make an estimate, 50%, 30%, and 20%. All right. So it means that 50%, it means that this problem may cause around 1 million of losses, right? Because 50% of 2 million is 1 million. We don't have any loss here. 30% means 600, okay? 600. And 20% means 400. And we don't have anything in the other columns. So P1 potentially cause a loss of 1 million. P3 potentially cause a loss of 600,000. And P4 potentially cause a loss of 400,000. It's okay? Very easy, right? Just my loss, it's an estimate. Now I estimate the importance of each problem, and I'm just dividing, the loss among these problems, considering the relevance of each one. Okay? Very, very easy. Who is choosing P1, P3, P4? You as a PMO manager or you as a consultant that is implementing the PMO. Okay, it's not selected by the stakeholders or something like that. It's your task. You are trying to find the return of your PMO. P1, P2, P3 are the problems of your organization. They are not the problems of your stakeholders. There is a difference, okay? There is a difference. All right, so now we have here all the functions of our database, okay? All the functions of our database, F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F26, okay? 26 functions. What we have in our database here is the probability of each function solve each problem. So we asked our community about what they believe that each function, the chances of each function solve each problem. So for example, provide methodology. Do you believe that it can solve problems of bad estimates? Yes or no? And people answered us, okay? So these answers, exactly like in step number 1, these answers were analyzed statistically, and we have created a database, okay, with the probabilities of each function solve each problem. All right? So look what we have here. Let me show you. F1, F2, F3, and so on. Okay? Let's suppose these numbers are just an example. Let's suppose that F1 is 80, F2 20, F3 0, and so on. Here we have 100, we have 50, we have 100, and so on. P3 we have 50, 0, 20, P4 0, 10, 50, and P5, 50, 100, 0, and so on. And we have to do that for all columns. Again, these numbers in black, they came from the database, okay? They are fixed. They came from the collective intelligence of our community, okay? That's it. So now look what you have to do. Look. We will see which functions were selected in step number 2. Let's suppose that we have selected function 1, function 2, and function 3. Only these 3 functions, okay? Only these 3 functions. So look, function 1 can solve my problem 1 with 8% of chances. Function 2, 20% of chances, and function 3, 0%. So the result will be 80%. Why? Because each function is an independent event. So I can't sum. I have to take the highest one, the maximum, okay? The maximum. So 8%, 20%, 0. The maximum is 80. P2 is not a problem for me. P3, the highest one is this one. Okay, P3 is 50. So 50 and 20, so the highest one is 50. And P4, the highest one, is also 50. P5 is not one of my problems, so I will not consider this, and also P6, P7, P8, and so on. So 8% of 1 million means 800,000. 50% of 600 means 300,000. 50% of 400 means 200,000. When I sum these numbers, I have 1,300,000. And this number is the potential of recovery of losses of my PMO. So the loss that I potentially recover is 1,300. And this number is the number that I will compare with the annual cost of my PMO. Okay, so let's suppose that my PMO cost per year 1 million. Let's use a number a little higher here, 1 million. Okay, so the calculation of the ROI will be this. 1 million is the cost of the PMO divided by 1 million. Okay, so it will be divided by this, and the result will be 30% of ROI. Is it okay? So again, we are working with monetary expected value. That's what we are doing, right? But we are giving some flexibility because you can have different problems and you can have different functions. So depending on the problems you have and depending on the functions that you are providing, the results will be different. Okay? A different set of problems and a different set of functions will give you different results because each function has a different probability of solving a specific problem, right? So when we look these results, 30%, it's not really bad, okay? So potentially we have, good chances to implement a PMO that makes sense. But we have to consider two other aspects. It's very important, including for the exam. We have to consider two other aspects, okay? The first one, let me show you that, okay? Where is that? Oh, it's here. We have to consider two other aspects. Look, please help me with that. I'm saying that F1 has 100% of probability to solve problem 2, right? So when I asked people, I asked them, do you believe that F1 can solve problem 2? And all of them agreed that yes, 100% of chances. Okay, that's what we have here. However, if we want 100% of chances, there are two indicators that should be really high. These two indicators came from previous steps that we have discussed. So in which conditions we will have 100%? Only when we have a high. What is the first one? A very high. They came from our previous steps. I need two things very high to keep 100 here. What we are talking about? What do you think? What is the first aspect that should be high to keep 100 here? Exactly, Mahamud. So the first one is maturity. So what I'm saying is, okay, it's 100, but if your maturity is high, right? If you are providing function 1 in a very low level of maturity, I'm sorry, it's not 100, right? It's 100 when you are doing a good job. So maturity is one of them. And the second one is not maturity, is competence. competence. So we will take the maturity indicator and we will take the competence adherence indicator. So let's suppose that I have 100 here and 100 here. Okay, so 100 multiplied by 100%, 100% multiplied by 100%, all these numbers will keep the same, right? But let's suppose that function 2, maturity is 50% and competence is 100%. The result, 50% multiplied by 100% will be 50%. And I will multiply this number for all these numbers here. So it will not be 20, it will be 10. It will not be 50, it will be 25. 0, not 10, but 5, not 100, but 50, right? That's the idea, okay? That's the idea. And finally, let's suppose, for example, F3 is the same situation, 50 and 100. So 0, 50, 10, 25, and 0. So now let's review our numbers. I told you that P1 was 80%, right? But let's see now. It remains 8%. Now it's 10 and now 0. But at 8% is the highest one. So okay, we will keep 8%. Let's see P3. P3, the highest one was 50 and it's still 50, okay? Because this 20 now is 10, but 50 is the highest one. But before, the highest one was 50 and now 50 is 25 because we used our combination of maturity and competence to reduce it. And it makes sense because if you are providing the function without maturity and without competence, I'm sorry, it will not be 50%, it will be only 25. So this number here is not 50 anymore. This number here now is 25. So it's not 200,000, it's only 100. And now my return will be only 1,200,000. Okay? So what I'm saying is, look, what's really important for you to keep in your mind, you don't need to make any calculation. Everything is automatic, okay? I'm gonna show you that. I'm just trying to show you how it works and what you have to keep in your mind. Every time you try to calculate the ROI of something related to project management, it's not a simple task. Our model was created based on assumptions. So you have to understand the assumptions and you have to believe on that. It's something that happened with every ROI model, even for projects. If you don't believe on the assumptions, don't use it, okay? So the assumptions here are, our PMO was created to save money, okay? You have to estimate your loss. You have to understand your problems and estimate the relevance of each problem. So the ROI will depend on the problems that you have in your organization. Also, you have to select the functions of your PMO, and you have to understand the maturity and the competences that you have in each function, because of course, it will influence the probability of solving the problems that you have. If maybe you are providing the correct functions, but you are providing a very low level of maturity or in a very low level of competence. So, of course, the results will not come, okay? So, If you don't have a good ROI, what can you do? First, you can try to improve the maturity or improve the competences of the functions that you are providing. That's one way to improve the maturity. For example, I showed you that the maturity of F3 was only 50%, and it reduced our return. So if we improve the maturity of F3, we will increase our return, okay? So that's one way. Let's try to improve maturity and improve competences. The second possibility, you can try different functions. For example, let's suppose that we have another function here, function number 4. Maybe this function could provide you the result that you need. So sometimes that's something that you can do, okay? Finally, you can try to reduce the cost of your PMO, the annual cost of your PMO. It's another possibility. So there are many, many possibilities that you can use to improve your ROI. But what's really important when you are analyzing the results is, let's suppose that you have a 100% positive. So it looks that you are in the right way. You are providing the correct functions, and these functions are addressing not only the stakeholder needs, but also the problems of your organization, okay? Let's suppose that you have a negative ROI, like negative 100. It means that maybe you are in the wrong way. And why? Maybe because your PMO is too expensive. Maybe because you don't have maturity or competence, right? And also sometimes it's because your portfolio is too small. Look what I'm saying. If you have a very small portfolio, of course, your loss, it will not be very high too, because your portfolio is small, right? So possibly the potential of recovering of your PMO will not be enough to pay the cost of your PMO because your portfolio is too small. That's why sometimes these results will help you to justify, instead of implementing a departmental PMO, implementing an enterprise PMO. Because, for example, maybe the result will be negative with a portfolio of 10 million, but if it's an enterprise PMO, the portfolio will be 100 million, right? And the cost of the PMO will increase, of course, a little, but not in the same proportion. So my PMO makes sense for a mandate, an enterprise mandate, but it doesn't make sense for some department mandate. You know, that's why very small companies, they can't keep a PMO. You know, they can't have a PMO. Why? Because their portfolio is very small. You know, the project portfolio is very small because it's a very small company. So if you are a very small company, your portfolio will be small. Of course, your loss in absolute numbers will be small too. And if you have only one person, for example, at your PMO, probably it will be more expensive than the potential of recovery of your PMO. Okay, so this model can help you to make you understand if a PMO makes sense for you or not. Okay, that's the idea. Just to finish it today, and I will open for questions. So if someone need to disconnect, you can. Okay, I will show you very, very fast how it works at the tool. Everything is automatic. Okay, we don't need to make any calculation. it's something good. Let me show you. Look. This step is I know it's a little more complicated because there are a lot of calculations, but it's quite simple in terms of logic. So now we are in the last step. Oh, let me show you. We are in the last step, ROI. Not last, I'm sorry. The last is the step number 8. Tomorrow we will talk about that. Step 7. And you can see here where you will create a new assessment, okay? You have to establish scenarios. So you will say your portfolio, annual portfolio. You will inform your loss, it's an estimate. So there will be a calculation, right? And you have to inform your annual PMO cost, right? Now we go to the second tab. At the second tab, you will see the problems, okay? You can include problems from a list. And when you do that, oops, just a second. So you can include problems from a list, and you have to say the relevance of each problem, right? And you can see the estimated loss here. And finally, your current scenario in terms of functions. If it's your second cycle, all the information will come automatically, okay? But if not, you have to select the functions. You have to say your maturity, and you have to say your competence indicator. But after the first cycle, everything become automatic, okay? And the results will be here. The results will be here. That calculations that I showed you, they are here. Look, our functions, okay? The maturity and the competence. The blue column is the number that come from our database, and the green column is the multiplication of the maturity, the competence, and this number here in blue, okay? It's the green column. So at the end, we will get the result. It's here, the ROI, in this example, 105%, okay? As I said, it's just an example. But again, what you have to keep in your mind when we talk about the ROI model, you have to understand which problems you have to understand your loss, and you have to know the cost of your PMO. If you have this 3 information, you can try to find an estimation of the return of your PMO. Okay, that's it. So we will close our class today, but remember, tomorrow we have an extra class at the same time. We will talk about step number 8. It's very, very fast, and we will talk about the exam. So probably tomorrow we will spend less than 2 hours, I think. Okay, but I will be available to answer all your questions. So if you need to disconnect now, go ahead. Everything will be recorded and it will be available at our learning platform. But I will be here to answer your questions. I know that we have some questions, and I will start to answer them right now. Okay, so thank you for coming. If you need to leave now, and I see you tomorrow. And let's see our questions. Ahmed said, can we calculate the ROI prior to taking the decision to establish PMO in the beginning? Ahmed, yes, because you can use every step after you have selected the benefits on step number 2. Okay, so every step will be available after you have selected the benefits on step number 2. Okay, Americo, but I don't want to collect expectations. No problem. You go to step number 2, go directly to step number 2, even without collecting expectations, you just select functions by yourself, okay? Because this decision is up to you. So if you select all functions, for example, all functions will appear to you in the next steps, including step number 7. And you can use step number 7 even without using the steps before it, because all models, they work separately if necessary, okay? Radio, it should be done before start of PMO. The methodology should show this at the beginning about ROI rather than in step 7. It should be on step number 2 or 3. Yes, Ridwan, I agree with you, but again, the methodology suppose that we have interactions, right? So it's not like, oh, 1, 2, 3, and I will never go back to step number 3. No, it's not like that. It's on step number 7 because we need some information from steps that should be finished before. For example, maturity, for example, competence. So this information is needed if we want to calculate the ROI. But when you finish the ROI, you may go back to step number 2, step number 3, step number 4, and make some adjustments, no problem, okay? So that's the idea. So when you finish a step, it doesn't mean that you can't come back. You can go back and make any change you need. Again, step number 7 is step number 7 because it needs information from step number 6 and step number 5. If it was on step 2 or 3, it will be impossible, right? So it would not make sense. But again, remember, we are in the designing stage. It means that the PMO will be ready to start to operate after we finish it, all the design stage. And sometimes we have to go back and go forward, you know, that's it. The order of the steps is much more, you know, to keep some logic, but it doesn't mean that after one step you can't go back if you need, right? What else? What's the benefit to use the annual portfolio? It's not a question of benefit, Mahmoud. It's just a question that we have to establish some kind of base, you know. So we decided to since we work on a cycle of 12 months, we said, okay, so let's work with the annual cost of the PMO and with the annual portfolio. Okay, so because the portfolio can give us a budget, you know, idea of annual budget. I know that we could use other approaches, but that's the approach that we decide to use in this model. Okay, as I said, ROI models, there are many possibilities, many possibilities. For example, there are 2 books very interesting. One of them is named How to Measure Anything. It was written by Douglas Hubbard. It's a very interesting book. And there is another one written by Jack Phillips. Jack Phillips was our mentor in these ideas. And Jack Phillips wrote a book named Show Me the Money, Show Me the Money, Jack Phillips. So both books are really important when we talk about ROI methods. And they usually say that there are many ways to see a ROI model, you know. Every person can establish different assumptions. So our model established these assumptions, right? And it makes sense with these assumptions. If you change the assumption, maybe it will not make change anymore, okay? What else? Nagi, but in construction, there is PMO over consultant for monitoring. This type of PMO we'll consider as example for our courses. Yes, Nagi. Again, we have some problems. We have a list of problems, and every industry may have different problems. If your problems are in our list, and our list is very broad, so if you find your problems in our list, the model will work for you. If you say, no, I can't find our problems in this list, it means that there is one last problem that is other problems. but other problems, I don't have any information in our database for that. So I can't calculate the ROI of your PMO if you tell me that problems are not your problems. Okay, so we can't help. We try to work with what is the most common problems in companies around the world. Ridwan, what's the link for tomorrow class? I sent at our Facebook group, and I will send it again. I will send the link for tomorrow class again at our Facebook group, and also I will send it by Eventbrite. Okay, so you will receive by email. If you don't unsubscribe Eventbrite, right? So if you didn't do that, you will receive it. If you did that, okay, go to the Facebook group and you will find the link for the class tomorrow. Mohammed, can you repeat the definition of strategic compared to tactical? Yes, strategic functions are every function that is related to some strategic aspect, for example, portfolio or benefit management, or related to the upper management level, okay? Like provide advice to the executive level. And tactical is any function that will provide something for a group of functions or a group of people. Operational will provide something for each project one by one, and for each person one by one. It's not for a group. A group methodology, for example, it's for a group of projects. But provide support on planning is project by project. Okay. Thank you, Sari. The Facebook group link, Ridwan. Ridwan, I don't know. Are you receiving our emails? If you are not receiving, please let me know, because you should have all this information. I don't know what you don't have it. Okay, I'm gonna give you the link, of course. Just a second. But I don't know. I think you are not receiving the emails, because all this information was sent to you. This is the link for the Facebook group. Okay. Ridwan, try to connect, please. Okay, what else? Let me see. Mahmoud, I understand they use it for annual PMO cost to calculate ROI, but I don't understand what is the benefit of the annual portfolio. Mahmoud, I don't know if I'm understanding your question. Actually, I understood that you were saying, what's the benefit of use the annual portfolio as the number that we have to consider to calculate the loss? I don't know if that's what you are asking. Again, we need some number to start, okay? And the annual portfolio is what the PMO is trying to help, right? So any PMO, IT PMO, for example, an IT PMO is created to take care of the IT portfolio, right? In many different ways, because there are many different functions. But the idea is my mandate is the IT department, so I can see all projects from IT from IT area. Okay, so this is the portfolio under the mandate of the PMO. So what we're trying to do is, okay, considering this is what we are taking care, the portfolio of the company or of a department, what is the loss in this portfolio? As I told you, we could consider, for example, some kind of loss related to opportunity, opportunity cost, but it's much more complicated. If we try to use a very basic approach, the loss because of cost overrun, for example, is something that everybody understands. So what we tried to do was something simple. So, okay, every portfolio has cost overrun, And if we can't explain, we can justify that cost overrun, it's a loss. It's something that happened because we can't manage it. So the PMO was created to help with that. So if the PMO is acting, is performing, it means that this loss will diminish. So let me know this loss. So it's 20% of our portfolio, for example, and we will compare this loss with the potential recovery that our PMO can provide. Okay, so that's why we use this number. I don't know if it was your question. If I couldn't answer you, please, you can send me here or later, and I will try to clarify. Okay. Okay, that's it. So, thank you very much for coming. Tomorrow we will meet again for our extra class. We will talk about step number 8 and about our exam. Okay, so thank you very much. We are almost there, and tomorrow 9 a.m. Dubai time, if you want, you can start to schedule your exam. Okay. Again, read the documents very well. Okay, everything is explained at the documents. Anyway, if you had any problem, you can send an email to customcare@pmoga.com. Okay? Thank you very much, and see you tomorrow. Okay? So, bye-bye.